they were gone.
No way.
I took them and they were on my bench. So I had him on my bench that 1 week, right? And then his quarterback came back the next week and I cut him. I put him back out on the waivers. I didn't even use him. I just put him on my bench for a week so he couldn't get him. And I beat him.
That's hilarious. So Yahoo gives you a D. You're in first place in 3-0 in this semi-celebrity league in LA. And you went 4 rounds, you picked them, and then you were so exhausted because you worked the day before and you were out late and you were just exhausted. Then you put on automatic and now you're doing the waiver wire and you're making moves. You got to make moves.
Like the guys that I don't even know, the guys that I had in the last 4 or 5 rounds, I don't even remember who they were. I just dropped them. I had Brandon Cooks from the Cowboys. I watched the Cowboys a couple games. Brandon Cooks gets 4 or 5 targets a game, like 40, 50 yards a game. Like he's nothing.
Yeah. That's the old – that guy's from the Rams, right? The guy used to be on the Rams.
Yeah, he was on the Rams 1 year. He's on everybody. He's like
he's been everywhere. Yeah. So that's funny, though. So you're like me because the thing is you have to keep on it. And the one good thing about your league, though, is that whole idea of you don't just get the guy from the waiver wire, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the team that's got the lower ranking in the standings gets them. You know, they have priority. They do it like the NFL. They do the same way as the NFL.
All right. So look, that's I like that. That's a little fantasy football talk. Old Menace West. Tommy T is 3-0 right now. He's got a D-ranked team by Yahoo, but it's obviously not D-ranked. And
Yahoo rated my draft a D.
And what did you say? And what did you say? And what did you say to the guys in the league?
I told the guys, I go, how am I still getting D's in my report card 40 years later? The hell?
You got no gold star, no silver star, no smiley face, no nothing on that. So maybe in the weeks to come, we'll ask the commissioner because we got to go through the commissioner. It's like going through Adam Silver. We got to go to the commissioner to get permission, and maybe we'll have some guys on, and you can we can chat about it, and you know, and maybe they'll trust you, maybe they won't, maybe they'll trust me more because they'll think you're up to something, and I'll be completely honest and transparent with them. So let's cut right into me and you because Father Tony's going to be here soon. So let's just cut in quickly to me and you. I want to what's on the mind of Tommy T, but I wanted to know if you could start because it's kind of on my mind, and I thought maybe it'd be on your mind. Can you talk really quickly about the undefeated teams right now? And are you surprised by any? Do you think they're fakers? Or they're real? I mean, just really quick, like what's your thoughts on those? Because some of them are very surprising, per se, from last year.
Well, I know that obviously the Chiefs are not fakers, right? The Chiefs are not fakers. And then, but the Seahawks are fakers. The Bills, I don't think are fakers, but the Steelers are fakers. The Steelers are not good. I don't think they're any good. The Steelers always start out fast, always. They always come out the blocks playing well.
And can I say one thing about that? I think they do because Tomlin's a good defensive coach.
He's a good coach. He's a good defensive coach. They have a good defense. They have a good defense. But I've seen their defense get smoked too. So and the Bills look excellent.
Oh,
the thing is, the Bills go on the road to play the Ravens this week at Baltimore. I expect that game to be a tough game for the Bills. They're not going to dominate Baltimore like they did the last 2 teams, right? But Baltimore's weird. Like Baltimore, they were 0-2. They come in and play the Cowboys, and they blow them out, and then they almost blew that game. So Baltimore's not a great team either.
They never are. They're always inconsistent, those guys. They got all this talent. Everyone talks about them every year. It's kind of like how everybody talks about the Bills every year. Both these teams are kind of similar. But you're right. The Ravens are desperate. I mean, they got to win that game.
They were desperate last week against the Cowboys. They were up 28-6, I think, 28 or something like that. 28-6, they were up, and then the Cowboys scored 3 touchdowns, but they didn't convert any of the 2-point conversions.
Yeah,
so they only got 18 points out of it.
Dallas.
They had 2 touchdowns, and then they got a 7, so they got 19 points out of it. So they got 28-25, and then the Ravens they converted a couple first downs in the last 2 minutes to seal the game. But the Bills are not a great team. Seattle's, they're not for real. I don't think so. They got a new coach. That guy Mike McDonald.
And what do you think about the last remaining one?
Well, I've saved that for last because
I figured that's you.
We're biased. We're biased. I mean, you've been a Vikings fan your whole life.
Yeah.
And
50 years.
Whenever I think of the Vikings, I think of the the movie A Few Good Men when Nicholson, when Nicholson was Colonel Jessup, he was in the witness stand and he said, "You can't handle the truth." I always think of that for you because I always think Viking fans can't handle the truth. Like the team always sucks when you leave them at that moment. At the one moment where they're going to finally wash away everything, the one moment they always suck. They always choke, so
because you're right. Because as a Viking fan, you learn over time, you have thick skin and you learn over time just to fantasize. You just fantasize and fantasize because there was success and they've always had really good teams. And they got one of the best records in the NFL over years, and they go into playoffs. I mean, they're not like just a team that doesn't get anywhere, and so you always have this little hope. And look at now, it's like 3-0, and they start out 3-0, and you would think JJ McCarthy was going to be the savior. He goes down. Sam Darnold comes out of nowhere. Like he's like the Undertaker. Remember the Undertaker in wrestling, and he'd be out on the mat, and then he'd come up.
Yeah.
And boom. I mean, Sam Darnold's like that, like the Undertaker. He comes back and I don't know. Like I always thought Sam Darnold was awesome in college. Like this guy's got skill. And when you have skill, you got skill. But in team sports, you got to put it together with other things. And maybe it is true that just the Jets, obviously, in Carolina was not good for him. But with that being said, I still temper my excitement because I knew you weren't going to mention it right off the bat. Because to me, the Bills and the Chiefs are way better than the Vikings, per se. They always are. And then
I think the Vikings have the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, or one of the top defensive coordinators in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think they have great personnel on defense. They got rid of Danielle Hunter, but they got this Greenard guy from Houston.
Yeah.
Who's very good.
Yeah.
Jack Griffin, the cornerback from Houston. They got Ivan Pace, they drafted last year. He got hurt. The guy came in for him. He got an interception.
Yeah.
They got defensive players. They got the players on defense. They got the coach on defense. So with that, this is not the Vikings of a couple years ago. Remember when they were like 13-3 or 12-1? Or something like they lost like 3 or 4 games, but they gave up 40 points in every game.
Yep.
Remember a couple of years ago, I think they won like 13 games, but the Cowboys beat them. The Cowboys beat them like 41-3 or something. Like that team didn't have a defense.
Nope.
Just like this Cowboys team's got no defense. But I think the Vikings. I don't think you're going to go in to Minnesota, and I don't think you're going to score 35 points off them.
No.
So this is a different team. And I'm not so sure that they're not in the Bills class. I mean, I think the Vikings are right there with the Bills. The Bills got Josh Allen, who right now is the best player in the NFL.
Yeah, guy is like crazy.
Way better than Mahomes. Way better than he's the best player in the NFL right now. He's playing lights out. And he said something after the game. He said that right now, our team is only playing to win. Nobody is concerned about his stats, right? And that was a to Diggs.
Yeah,
right?
I was just going to say.
Guy over here bitching about nothing. Diggs, he always bitched about nothing. It was always nothing. First of all, you're getting paid. Shut up. Secondly, you're getting the ball. Shut up. But he still was always bitching. Yeah. And after a while, you're like, get rid of the guy. Like bring in Shakir or whatever that guy's. Bring in
the Florida State dude. The Florida State dude. Yeah.
Oh, the Keon Coleman. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
but you're right, because you know what? You're right about that, because Diggs, he's always got this thing. Like now, after that happened, recently he was on a podcast and he was talking about how, he'd been to 2 cold places, Minnesota and Buffalo. And in Minnesota, he liked it and everything, but he felt awkward or weird because of Thielen, because Thielen was the guy when he came in. But so what? And, you still got the ball. It wasn't that, maybe you guys were 1A and 1B, like a horse race, but who cares? Like, again, he's too consumed about himself. And the Vikings, They got rid of him, and we all know the history of what happened after they got rid of him, what the players they got, and where they are now. And Josh Allen, he threw him the ball like crazy, even more than he got the ball in Minnesota, and that wasn't good enough. But he, like you said, the problem was he was always talking and talking and talking.
He was bitching. Like,
bitching. Okay, bitching. Yeah, you're right. Bitching all the time.
I could understand if you're not getting paid, but he was getting paid.
Yeah, and can you imagine? And can you imagine being Josh Allen and how hard you work and how great you are, and every time you guys don't make a touchdown or you don't get down the field or he doesn't get his balls, he comes up to you in between and bitches. Like you gotta focus. Like Allen's like, I gotta focus now. I gotta forget about that. I gotta move on. And this guy's in your ear chirping because he's just pissed off about that he's not the best or important. It's like Antonio Brown. Remember Antonio Brown? He got naked. He was so frustrated. He got naked and ran whatever. He ran with his shirt off or whatever. What are you doing?
Great player. I mean, Diggs is a great player.
Yes, but
after a while, if you keep bitching for 2-3 years, it doesn't work. So
no. And I appreciate you giving my Vikings props. I think behind the Bills and KC, there's a Vikings. I think the Vikings are definitely better in Seattle and Pittsburgh. Well, I definitely think that.
They got this guy, Jalen Naylor, the third wide receiver, who's playing for Addison. And he was at Michigan State. He was good at Michigan State, but he couldn't shoot the ball when he was there. He got a touchdown in every game. The Vikings don't even have Hawkinson yet. He's still rehabbing a knee injury. So the Vikings are tough. They're a tough team. I like.
And they got, and who else they got as a receiver who could come in, who's good, is Jackson. He's out of SU. He's an Orangeman.
Oh, I don't know him.
Yeah, Tashawn Jackson or something. He's moving up too. This guy's good. He's got speed. Okay. He went to the Cuse. And he's another one sitting there. Addison's going to come back this week against Green Bay. It looks like Love probably won't play. But I don't think it matters. I think they don't want to play him.
I think he is going to play.
I want to play him because with that defense, I don't know, man. I'd be nervous having him back there.
Luckily for Green Bay, Malik Willis, the guy they got from Tennessee,
guy's great.
He's played great. And here's the other thing: Green Bay played Tennessee a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They were interviewing Malik Willis, and they were saying to Malik Willis, they were trying to cause trouble. They said, "Hey, Malik, are you looking for payback for Tennessee for like not giving you the chance or giving up on you?" This is what this kid Malik Willis said. He said, "No." He said, "Tennessee drafted me in the NFL. They treated me great when I was there." And he said, "And they paid me." He said, "They paid me." He goes, "I got nothing against Tennessee."
There you go. No, he's a good guy, that guy. I think Green Bay stole him for a 7th round. I think they gave up a 7th round pick.
I don't even know, but that's a smart dude. Like,
a 7th round pick. I think he did really good in his interview process before he got drafted. People were talking about him. And when I remember when the draft came up for him, I wanted the Vikings to take him because I was like, could this guy be like Steve McNair or Randall Cunningham? He's got an arm, he can move. I'm like, this guy's tricky. Like, I know Liberty University, people are like, who they play.
Yeah, but he started at Auburn. He started at like Auburn or Georgia. He started at one of the big ones.
I think Auburn, and then he went to Liberty, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, So when Tennessee took him, that was before Levis. I was like, okay, they got their quarterback. That guy's going to work.
He's better than Levis.
He is. That's what I mean. I don't even know why they drafted Levis later. It was so stupid. Levis is done, but I really like that guy. I think he's really good. So if he plays for Green Bay, that's fine too. But it's going to be a good game. It's always a good game. Green Bay and Minnesota.
They've been showing one clip on the highlights. I just have the TV on the background, and I got it muted. And they show highlights, and they keep showing this one play where he went back to pass, and then there was no one open, so he went around the left end, and he started running, and he ran like 30 yards. He outran everybody, and I was just like, that guy's fast.
He's fast. He's strong. He is like McNair. He's really good. So we'll see what happens. I just wonder about Love, like coming back. Is it too soon? Because the Vikings defense, they're quick and they'll go after him. The Vikings defense got 16 sacks.
No,
16 sacks in 3 games.
They got the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him after this year.
No, I know. Well, maybe though. No, I'm going to tell you something. Maybe. Guess why? Because the league is so screwed up. The league is so screwed up that, he had his one coaching job in Miami, his one head coaching job. He should have got a one after that. Like, the league is so messed up. I don't want to say racial or, whatever, but it kind of is. That guy, I almost think the Vikings will just pay him more. Like, that's just, I think Ziggy will just pay him more. Because I don't think he's going to get a lot of looks but maybe he will now, because finally they're like, okay, even though Tua was like, oh, he wasn't a great head coach. I didn't think you, whatever, Tua, whatever, Tua. But Tommy, so out of those teams, you're thinking the undefeated teams right now, 3-0. There's what, 5? 1, 2.
There's 3 in the American Conference, and there's 2 in the National Conference. So
So out of those, you would rank it: Kansas City, Bills, Vikings, a tie, and then Seattle, Pitt.
Steelers and Seattle last.
Yeah, it's funny how you said the American Conference and the National Conference. I like that.
AFC, NFC. Yeah,
that's so old school. It's like the National Conference and the American Conference. All right, do you have anything else? Because I didn't ask you. Do you have anything else just quickly that you want to rant about for 30 seconds that really, after you watched week 3, really bothered you? And then we got Father Tony, who's the man of the cloth, is dying to get in here to for the betting segment. I think he's got a lot to say today. He just waved to me. I think he's really excited about this week. I think he's got some tricks up his sleeve. Now he went to the holy water. He drank some holy water. But what do you got? Anything for me? And then we'll get to Father Tony.
Week 3 was pretty much how I thought it was going to be. I thought that the Ravens were going to hammer the Cowboys. I thought that they were going to kill them. They let the Cowboys back in the game late, but they dominated that game. Derrick Henry ran for 170 yards or something.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. And then the Jets killed the Patriots on Thursday night, and Aaron Rodgers really looked good, like really looked sharp, and he could still move and everything. So everything went true to form last week. Oh, the Raiders. We had the Raider fan on last week, Mark Falcone. And he was very confident. But I was saying, I didn't pick the Raiders last week. I went 2-1. But I said that the Raiders only being -6, right, was a big deal.
I thought
that was tricky. I said, that's not a lot of points if Carolina's that bad. And sure enough, Carolina came out and completely dominated that game. And so I had a couple buddies at work at the casino, and they were saying, I like the Raiders. A couple guys like to place bets. And because I gave them my 3 picks, right? So they all went and bet my 3 picks, and they won. But he wanted to bet the Raiders, and I said, I'd be careful with that. And he said, why? And I said, sometimes the odds makers tell you the bet. Sometimes they give you the bet. And that was only 6 points, and it was going down. It was going down. I said, I don't know. I'd be careful with the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. Like I didn't take Carolina, but I didn't like the Raiders.
Yeah.
And Carolina completely dominated that game with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton played great. That Chuba Hubbard ran great. So that was, the Raiders were awful. Minshew was awful. So that was, to me, that was the biggest game of that game stuck out the most to me as something that I kind of saw. Didn't have enough guts to go on it, But the last 2 weeks, I'm 2-1,
Well, yeah, no, you're 4-2 the last 2 weeks, but I'm terrible. I was 0-3 in my over-unders, and I'm sure I'm going to hear it from Father Tony when we clock him in here. So let's get Father Tony in here because I'm bringing us down. I'm the one who's not holding my weight here. I'm doing the over-unders, and you're doing the sides, and we're 5-7 overall because I got like 5 of those losses. I usually don't get crushed like this. And I did read a stat last week that like the dogs last week were 12-4 and 6 of them won outright. It's like so the dogs and the unders are always kind of hot in the beginning. So I don't like doing the trends. So sometimes I'll just go over, even though everyone says it takes 2-3 weeks for the offenses to catch up to the defenses. So maybe now, because I hate doing unders, but let's go to Father Tony quickly here. Let me get him in here and and see what he's thinking about this. Let me change this thing here.
Father Tony.
Hey.
Father Tony, where are you? There he is. Let me get you in here properly. There he is. It's Father Tony from the hood. Father Tony is giving us some time today. I think he moved back some of the confessions that he had going on. He did them video confessions.
Zoom.
And now, Father, because he had to come up with the old men in sweats, he had to come up with for the betting segment, Bless Our Bets. This is Bless Our Bets, Barry D, Tommy T, and Father Tony. So, Father Tony, how are you today?
I'm good. And I want to get involved. All right. I'm going to make some bets myself. Yeah.
So, Father Tony, a recap. Tommy was 2-1 this past week 3, and week 2 he was 2-1. So Tommy's holding his weight. He's 4-2. But me, I lost all 3 of my bets last week. And that for Tommy and I together as old men in sweats were 5 wins and 7 losses because I've got 5 of the losses. I still have to make my picks this week, but I may need some extra help, or maybe we can just add you.
Father Tony, do you think that Barry is turning into the reverse barometer?
Well, you know what they say. They say God only helps those who help themselves. Okay, I can only do so much. If you're gonna bet out your ass, all right, I can't help you. All right, you're gonna have to use a little more thought into this situation. I think. All right, it's not. I think you guys are trying to be fancy with all your jargon. Just bet.
What jargon? There's not a lot of jargon here, Father Tony.
That's all I hear from you guys. That's all I hear from you guys is this. Listen, can I tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
Listen, when me and Sammy the Bull used to go to the, excuse me, can you edit that out? Edit that out about Sammy the Bull.
I was going to say, what are you talking about?
Okay, let's start again. When me and my buddy used to go to the track, all right? He used to beat these guys down. He used to beat these guys down with Quinella this and trifecta box and key the 6 over the 258 Gats, and I just make straight bets. I make sure give me the 4 horse and the 7th to win. And guess who came away with more money every single time. So you know what? I don't mess with points. I don't buy the swing or the hook or the over the under. Just straight bets. Just give me them to win. You know what I'm saying?
Well, isn't that what I've been doing, though, Father? I'm not messing around with anything.
That's why you're ahead, T. That's why you're ahead.
I just take the team with the points. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
But the question here is from that story. The question is, he won. Father Tony won. But what was the kick down to his friend? He had to probably give something to his friend. I mean, I don't know. He's talking Sammy's, Banny's, saying, come on.
Wait. Forget that.
Right.
I didn't kick back nothing. I kicked back nothing. He made his bet, I had my bets. Right?
And you're still here talking to us. That's good. All right.
Right. Yeah.
He said the jargon, Barry.
Jargon. I love it. So this week,
I'm going to tell you right now, though, tonight's game, the Thursday night game.
I'm getting in on this.
Okay. Tonight's game is in New York. There's supposed to be some weather, supposed to be some rain and stuff like that. It's in New York. And I got to tell you, I'm on this Cowboys team. I know this team very well. I follow them closely through the offseason, like the Eagles, like I do the Eagles and like I do the Rams. And I know this team. And everyone thinks that they're going to bounce back. They own the Giants. They throw their helmets on the field and just beat the Giants. They don't have to be anything in the helmet. That's all. They throw the equipment out there. They win. So everyone expects the Cowboys to bounce back, right, and win this game easily, right? They own Daniel Jones. They own him, right? But I got to tell you, the Giants are getting 5 points, and this is what's going to happen. The Giants are going to jump out into a lead. Now, it may not be 28-6 like last week for the Ravens, but the Giants are going to jump out because the Giants aren't playing around either. Like nobody wants to lose 16 in a row or 8 in a row or whatever it is. And the Cowboys are not that good. The Cowboys can't play defense. So the Giants got 5 points. You take the Giants tonight. Now, the Giants could beat the Cowboys, but even if they lose, it's going to be, again, that kicker for the Cowboys kicking like some 50-yarder in the rain to win the game. That's how this game's going to end. But the Giants are going to cover. tonight. So that's my first pick. Now go ahead, Father Tony.
That was my first pick too. I was going with the Giants over the Cowboys because I think you got to be a moron not to see that one coming. Matter of fact, I'll put a yard on it right now. Give me a yard on the Giants over.
Whoa! Who's got the jargon now?
What?
A yard? Where'd that come from?
That's not jargon.
What's a yard?
I take it neither of you did time.
No.
You know.
Well, I'm thinking you didn't do time either, or maybe your friend
priest that knows
did
that.
time.
Hey, it was a little import-export thing I had in Bensonhurst. It's a long time ago. Don't worry about it, all right? A yard is $1,000, all right?
I know what a yard is. I just want to know where you like the you talk about the jargon and you're throwing in yards.
That's not jargon.
Okay.
Wait a minute. For 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, this guy's just been blessing the bets. And sometimes, like Tommy said, the bless was like, not too much effort in it. And now it comes week 3. He's got this jargon. He's got jargon that he knows what he's talking about, this guy.
Listen to me. I got a good blessing. I'm going to do them all at the end. I'm going to do a nice blessing at the end for everybody's bets. All right? I got a good one. All right?
So when you take the Giants, Father Tommy's taking +5. It's 5.5 right now, Tommy.
Yeah. See?
Which is even better. So, Father Tony, when you say I'm taking the Giants, you're going to take the points, obviously, too, right?
Great bet to win. That's it.
Right here. Money line. I got to look that up. Father Tony not messing around, Tommy.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so what? There's jargon on the straight bet. You call it a money line? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, so if you take the Giants to win, because they're an underdog, if you lay $100, every $100 pays $200.
Give me a yard on the Giants straight money.
So line. A yard. He's going to double. It's a double money bet, Tommy. But, Tommy, Father Tony, sometimes the guys that are the sharks that know gambling, if they like a dog, an underdog, like Tommy says he likes the Giants +5.5, what they'll also do, they say this, I'm going to sprinkle a little money on the money line too. So what they hope for is if that team not only covers +5.5, like the Giants tonight, the Giants actually win the game like you want, Father Tony. You double dip and win both. Yeah. And one time, I got to tell you a funny story real quick here about double dipping.
Wait. Let me write this down, all right?
All right. Yeah, write that down.
I got a new word here, okay? Now there's sprinkle.
Oh, you got another word?
Sprinkle the line.
Yeah, sprinkle. You sprinkle a little of the bet on the money line. So say you bet a yard on the Giants +5.5, then maybe you're going to put like $300, 3C notes on the money line because it's paying every 100 pays 200 because the chances of them winning the game is less because they're an underdog, but you could win both bets. And Tommy, what did that Manny Tavares, our old friend Manny Tavares from Portugal, used to say about me? I was
well, he says you were 2 + 2.
Yeah.
He said when Barry put a bet down, he would always he would place a bet and then he would try to parlay it with the over and then he would try to take the other team and parlay that with the under. And Manny said, you're like 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 1 is 4, 4 + 0 is 4. He says, all you do is you just box in your bet and you're going to win $8 if everything comes through.
Yeah,
he was right.
When you guys start with all this points and line and sprinkle this and all that, I get agita, right? It comes across like these bookies aren't it's like I smell a rat. You know what I'm saying? It smells kind of. You know what I'm saying?
And I always tell Tommy when you're older, Father Tony, which you know a little bit, but you're not as old as me. You do start smelling. It's not even about the bookie smelling you. You start smelling like things. Like I smell like pretzels some days, and I'm like, how do I smell like pretzels? How did that? Where's he going? He left. He left us.
You can't take it.
He took off, but I got to tell you a double dip story. So, we were talking about double dip, right? Double dipping. One time I was at a fun little event that was going on in Westwood in a parking lot and a bunch of vendors, right? And they're trying to sell their wares, be it food or clothing or whatever. And I was hungover from the night before and I went and I was sampling stuff. So I went to this one tent and they had chips and salsa. and I was sampling. I went in and I took the chip and I had the salsa, and it was really good. I didn't complete the whole chip. And because I thought I was home, because I was hungover, I didn't even realize where I was. I went back and double dipped it in the dip. And this girl next to me goes, "Did you just double dip?" And I got so confused because I thought it was still home. No, because I was hungover, and I go, you know what? I did.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah.
and she goes, "You obviously don't, because you're double dipping at a public event."
Yeah.
And I never forget that. The girl, she was nice to me about it, but I was like, how embarrassing. You know, I double dipped right in the thing.
Yeah. Now you understand when I hear when I hear this jargon, I get this feeling as the double. You ever have an agent that double?
Oh, yeah.
He pays you, then he pays you have to pay him a percentage, and then you got to pay the venue a percentage, and they're double dipping on you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the feeling I get when I hear swing points, over under.
Well, the insulting thing about the double dip, Father Tony, the insulting thing about the double dip when these people do it, like the agents in the venues, if they're not Italian, it's really insulting because the Italians invented that. Yeah, and I get really mad when it's some guy and he's like some white guy, and I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this. You didn't invent this. I could do it. I could do it. Tom could do it. Father Tony could do it. But you really shouldn't be doing this because you didn't invent this.
Right. Exactly. He's selling hot dogs on the corner and he thinks he knows something. Listen,
exactly.
Win. All right.
So Father Tony, so you're learning. You obviously are watching, but you obviously knew more than you let on to in the first two programs.
Yeah, I'm coming on a show where guys know a lot, and it's a sports show, so I'm doing a little bit of research. Well, let me tell you something. When I say I do a little research, all right, I do a little research. All right, it's all right. I'm scratching the surface right now. And I'm just trying to get involved here. All right. Okay.
All right. So who's going to make the first picks of this week, week 4 NFL?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sunday. Sunday. All right. Tonight I got the Giants over the Cowboys. All right. That's a no-brainer.
Check that.
Sunday I got New Orleans over Atlanta. I got New York over Denver. And I'm taking Arizona over Washington. And the reason I'm taking Arizona over Washington is because the management of that team blows. All right? And that's it. I just don't like the whatever they are. All right? And I'm not even going to say their new name. All right? Forget about it.
All right, so let's recap those, Tommy, and tell me what you think of those.
He's got the Jets over the Broncos.
Uh-huh.
He's got Arizona over Washington. He's got the Giants over the Cowboys. And who's your fourth team?
I got New Orleans over Atlanta.
Okay. And these are all just straight up. Okay.
Straight up. What was it? What the heck did you guys what was that?
Money line. So what do you think of those, Tommy?
If you notice, I don't use that terminology as much. I try to keep it simple, stupid. But I got to tell you, I like your picks because you took your teams kind of with like a little bit of a personal vendetta. Like you bet according to you who you hate, or you bet according to who you don't respect. I like that. I respect that.
That's it. Same thing with the horses. You like the name of a horse, you go with that horse.
Yes, I think that you originated in New York, right? So I think that you're going to lean toward the Jets because that's your heritage. So you're taking the Jets against that's where you come with against Denver. Now you already voiced your displeasure for the Washington, what do you call it? Now, by you saying what do you call it, you're immediately offended by their name change, which I can respect.
Yeah.
I can respect. Yeah, the name change offends you, right? So you're an old school guy. You're not even going to say the new name. You're not even going to make an attempt.
Matter of fact, you know what? You asked me what it is. I couldn't even tell you.
You can't even tell you, right?
Can't even tell you. What is it? The Colonels? What is it? The
Colonels.
The Chicken Hawks? What is it? I don't know.
The Colonels.
Now here's the third thing. Now I know that Father Tony relocated to Atlanta, right? But he's not feeling Atlanta because he's around town and he hears everybody chirping about the home team in Atlanta, how great they are. And he's like, nah, they ain't that great. I'm still a New Yorker. He's like, nah. So he's going with New Orleans, coming into Atlanta and winning that game. So
Can't bet against the Saints.
You can't bet against the Saints. Oh, that's different. Okay.
Yeah, you can't bet against any Saint.
Okay.
I appreciate the logic that you're coming at me with. It's very intelligent, but it's not that complicated.
Okay.
You can't bet against the Saints, all right? But that was very good, T. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so Barry,
This is why you're ahead in this little race.
Well, I actually like Atlanta's -2.5 at home. Now that's low, right? That's low.
Yeah.
They should be -3 or after get go. I like Atlanta at home because New Orleans is injured. New Orleans lost their center for the year. Like their center's seriously injured, Eric McCoy, right? And so New Orleans also they have another injury too. They have 2 big injuries. So New Orleans is coming into that game injured. Now New Orleans scored 44 points against the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. I don't think they're going to get 44 points in the next 3 games combined, right? They only had like 12 or 15 points last week. So I don't see New Orleans scoring 44 points in the next 2 games, right? So I like Atlanta, right?
That you're going to go against Father Tony?
I'm sorry, Father Tony. I like Atlanta minus the 2.5. I really do.
So, Father Tony, you don't have to bless that one.
No, you don't have to bless.
I thought I would do a communal blessing for all of our bets. I got to.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. What's your next one, Tommy?
Well, see, like this is the problem. I hate to do this, buddy. I hate to do this to you, but I like Green Bay over Minnesota at home. I really do. Like I know Minnesota's 3-0. I know Minnesota's looked excellent, right? But Green Bay's -2.5 at home. Now I like the Pack to play some great defense against Darnold and company and hold Minnesota down. It's going to be a close game, but I like Green Bay to cover the 2.5 points. So my trifecta this week is the Giants plus the points, Atlanta minus the points, and Green Bay minus the points. Now, if the Vikings smoke me 2 weeks in a row, I'm going to have to like rethink everything. But right now,
you're going to have to bet my team. I think Jameer Alexander is questionable.
Jair.
Is that his name? Jair?
Yeah, see, Father Tony, Barry doesn't get a name right to save his life. Like,
that's why I call you Capolini, Father Tony Capolini, because it's just easier for me. If I can associate a food product to someone's name, I'll just call him that. Or like I used to call Brett Favre. You know, like whatever.
Brett Favre. Brett Favre's name it's pronounced in reverse of the spelling. It's Favre. But for some reason, this numbskull pronounces his name with the R in front of the V, even though it's not written that way. So it's Brett Favre. Yeah. I don't know where they come up with Favre. Favre. Barry D, for years, refused to say the V.
Yeah.
He wouldn't say the V. Brett Favre. He said Brett Favre. That Brett Favre's good. Yeah. I'm like, Barry, it's not Brett Favre. It's Brett Favre. Favre. And he
I think I got confused because he would throw the ball so far that I just would call it Favre.
You know, in some crazy way, I almost respect that ignorance.
Yes, I mean, come on, Father Tony. Would you rather have me butcher your last name or just call you Capolini? At least I'm associating your Italian heritage by calling you Father Tony Capolini.
How would you like it if I called you Barry S? All right,
that's fine.
Barry, did you see his face? When you said Capolini, he freaked a smirk. He freaking, he said this.
I don't like it. I don't like Capolini.
There's nothing better than a nice pound of Capolini with a little salt in the water, and you make it really beautiful.
What's the American name for Capolini here in this country? What do they call Capolini here?
The pasta?
Yeah, what do they call it? They don't call it Capolini. When you order it out, like how do they say it?
I don't know.
Angel hair.
Oh, dumb. They dumb it down. I can't call you Father Tony. So I call you the actual Italian name. I can't call you Father Tony Angel Hair. So I call you Father Tony Capolini.
It's Scarpolini.
Scarpolini, A. B, just say Father Tony or just say Father.
Okay. Or how about if I call you the man of the cloth?
Why you got to break my balls with this?
And you're a handsome man of the cloth. You're not just a man of the cloth. Like Tommy said, you're a handsome man of the cloth.
Father, you know what the guys in Brooklyn, the old neighborhood, you know what they call you?
What?
They refer to you, all your guys. I know you still talk to them. They just call you the collar.
That's it.
They call him the collar. That's it.
That's it.
The collar. That's a good name. That would be a really good name for a linebacker. The collar. His horse collar.
And if
the collar.
You really want to be fancy, and if you really want to, he goes, hey, Padre.
Padre. I like Padre.
Hey.
I like Padre. I love Padre. Okay, so you guys have made your bets. Now let me see what I can finagle out of my demise.
Here we go.
All right,
Father.
ready?
Get the pen out, Father.
Get the pen out, Father.
We got Quinella.
Or Father, as Apollo Creed said, get your cameras out. Get your cameras out. Get your cameras out.
All right, here we go.
So I'm going to take the over in the Lions-Seahawks Monday night game. Over. 49.5, and as Father Tony said, he doesn't want to hear me say it, but I'm going to buy the hook down to 49.
46.5 for the over-under, Barry.
Oh, it's only 46?
46.5.
All right, I'll take that then. 46. And then I'm going to take the Bills and the Ravens, which I think is also 46.5. I'm going to take the Bills-Ravens over. And then I'm going to be with Father Tony on this pick. I'm going to bet that Washington, whoever they are, whatever their name is, and the Cardinals, I'm going to bet that game over. It's 50.5. I'm going to buy it down and bet 50. And those are my three over-unders, the Cardinals and the Washington whatever's over, and the Bills-Ravens over, and the Seahawks-Lions over. And you and Father Tony both have the Giants. You have the Giants plus the points, but Father Tony is going to go Giants straight up.
Right.
And then Father Tony has the Saints straight up. And then he has the Jets, correct, Father Tony? Straight up.
Straight up.
Well, that's an easy one.
Straight up.
The Jets are 7.5 points favorite. If you take them straight up, I mean, you're making pennies on the dollar.
Oh, I thought this was kind of like also a competition between who's going to win the most.
No, I mean it is a competition. I mean, but if you're not factoring in the points, we're giving you the collar edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Father Tony, for example, why Tommy brought that up, if you take them just to win, you would have to lay 360 shekels to win 100 shekels.
Though, he's evening it. It's evening out because he is taking the Giants straight up without the points.
Oh, you're right.
It's actually working out. It's Barry D's favorite line ever. It's 6-1, half dozen in the other.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's not the line, is it?
Yeah, no.
Is that true? Huh?
It's 5. 6. No, the line is 6-1, half dozen in the other.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, so now, Tommy, you got the Giants plus the points.
Yeah.
And then your other two again are?
I got Atlanta minus 2.5, and I got Green Bay Packers minus 2.5.
All right. So the you guys watching that Atlanta Saints game would be something if you watched it together. Yeah. But I think Father Tony's probably got more pressing business on a Sunday.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, I don't think Father Tony's at the bar on Sunday. At 1 o'clock, 10 in the morning Pacific time.
I got a little charity thing downtown.
All right. So Father Tony, we're hoping this week we do better, especially me, because I'm sure that the collection box has been lit bad. From coming from Old Men in Sweats.
Tony, a couple of things. You've been coming on for 2 weeks. We really appreciate you giving us your time. I mean that sincerely. Okay. But what I'd like to add is that I want to thank you for bringing your personality this week.
Hey. Yeah. Well, hey.
I mean, the last couple of weeks were completely void. But this week, there's like
I didn't know what I was getting into. I mean, I know you guys a long time, but I've never been in this forum. You guys,
I love it. See how he got when I said void the last 2. See how big he got. Hey, I didn't know what I was getting into over here.
No, I didn't know. Right?
No, but I understand that it'd be like Tommy or I. It would be like Tommy or I on Sunday. Instead of watching football, we go to the church and we go in the confessional with our sweats on, and we open the thing, and the guy goes, "Oh, it's been 20 years since my last confession." And Tommy and I come up with, we don't know what we're doing. We come up with probably the same thing: 5 Hail Marys, 5 Our Fathers. Take care. Get out of here. I got to go watch the games. So like we get it. The forum here for us is familiar. For you, it's not. But it's that's a good example.
Here's the thing, Barry. Once you start doing that more and more, you come to the church in your sweats, you sit in the box, you open it up, and then in a couple weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, you'll start to go, you know what? He did that. I'm going to give him 2 Our Fathers. He did this. I'm going to give him 3 Hail Marys. And it becomes more familiar with you, right? That's how things.
Yeah. So I get what he's saying there, and I tell you right now, if Father Tony beats us this week, if Father Tony beats either of us, I'm going to consider at my older age actually turning to be a man of the cloth. I mean, why not? I mean, all right. So Father Tony, so that's it. We're 5-7 overall, but we're probably going to go above 500 with Father Tony's picks this week. And we love that Father Tony got involved in the picks. I knew sooner or later he was itching to make a bet. I mean, he's Italian.
I had to get involved.
Yeah. So let's do. Do you want to do a blessing, Father Tony, for all the bets across the board?
We'll do a blessing for the bets. Are you guys ready? Bow your heads. The Lord bless your bets and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you wins. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Okay.
From your lips to God's ears.
There you go.
All right, thank you, Father.
Look at Tommy T. He's wondering if he's going to burn in hell for this. It's all right. It's all right.
Tommy, you won't burn in hell, because I don't believe I'm going to burn in hell, and I burned down a field that belonged to a Catholic church in our hometown. I burned it right down to the ground.
I got news for you, my friend.
Wait, so I am going. I can I do a confession about that real quick, Father Tony? I was
you just did. Just say it out, Father. Say it, Hail Mary. You'll be all right.
I was young and stupid. Okay, so that's it. Old Men of Sweats, Barry D, Tommy T, and Father Tony Capolini.
All right, thank you, Father. Thank you, Barry D.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Tommy. That's our program. Go check us out on all the podcast platforms.